Looking at our world from a theological perspective, this is the Theology Central Podcast, making theology central.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is Saturday, April the 1st, 2023. It is currently 3:26 p.m. Central Time, and I'm coming to you live from the Theology Central studio located right here in Abilene, Texas. And we have a brand new month in front of us, a brand new month. We're at the first day of April, so we have an entire month in front of us. What are we going to do with it? Are we going to waste it? Are we going to use it? What's going to happen in the month of April? The one thing we do know is we don't know what's going to happen in the month of April. It could be a good month. It could be a bad month. We don't know what twists and turns there will be. There will be ups. There will be downs. There will be victories. There will be defeat. There will be happiness. There will be sadness. Who knows what's going to happen in the month of April? But I'm here to let you know at least what I hope will happen in the month of April. I hope the month of April will be one of the most successful months we've ever had for the Bible Study Exercise podcast series. I hope I can motivate people to really dig in the month of April, participate. I hope we can have a very successful month, not just for the Bible Study Exercise podcast series, but for everything else we're going to try to do. So I thought, since it's Saturday, we're supposed to start a new week of Bible study tomorrow. We're supposed to be finishing up the previous week of Bible study today. And it's the first day of the month. I thought we would just take a little bit of time to kind of let you know what we're going to be trying to accomplish in the month of April, where we're going, point you to obviously the curriculum, and hopefully get you motivated and get you ready. Kind of look at all the other things that's going on, and hopefully just get you, I don't know, I hope motivated to participate for the month of April, because if you don't make a plan, put it this way, you can make a plan and it still doesn't go as planned. But if you don't make a plan, well, I guess the one thing is you never have to feel like you messed up or you failed because, well, you didn't have a plan. But if you don't have a plan, typically the first day of April will turn into the last day of April before you know it, and it will be gone. It will be like, sand in your hand, water in your hand. It just will be gone. It'll just slip right through your fingertips and it will be over. So we're going to try on this first day to kind of map out a little bit of where we've been and where we're going, and just do a little bit of that. All right. So if you've been listening to the podcast, now this doesn't directly relate to the Bible study exercise, but it does relate to one of the things that we've been working on. If you've been listening to the podcast in general, we have been working on a extensive study in a roundabout way on the subject of baptism. We started with baptism basically in church history. We looked at 3 historical sources related to baptism. We looked at the Didache, Tertullian, Hippolytus. I think we did a really good job showing kind of the evolution of the theology and doctrine of baptism, really how there was very little agreement between the Didache and Hippolytus, how it went from something simple to something elaborate, how they started adding all of these different things. And we looked at all of that. I thought we completed that series. Done. I think we did a good job. But right when we got to the end of that series, I was like, wait. Since we've looked at these historical documents, now let's look at baptism in the scriptures. So we are currently working from Matthew to Revelation, looking at every single scripture that mentions baptism in any way, shape, or form. And we've made it to the book of Acts. Hopefully this Sunday at Victory Baptist Church, between Sunday school and Sunday night, we will finish that, and if we do, that will free up that, and then we can get back to our ongoing series on law and gospel. So what we're going to probably try to do is finish up baptism on Sunday. That'll be Sunday school and Sunday night. And then hopefully by Wednesday, we can return to law and gospel. If we need to finish it up on Wednesday, we will. Just depends what twists or turns we find ourselves dealing with. But hopefully then by Wednesday, at least by Wednesday, we'll be done with baptism in the scriptures. We can move on past that series and we can get back to working on law and gospel. We'll be utilizing hopefully Sunday school and Wednesdays probably for law and gospel. I don't know about Sunday night. So that's something we'll be continuing to do. Please, I hope you'll continue to listen and participate in all of that. At some point, somewhere in there, we will be adding a study on Ezekiel chapter 40 through 48, primarily focusing on that temple that is described, dealing with a lot of just looking at everything about that temple, trying to figure it all out. I don't know exactly how I've got an idea of how to map out where we're going with that study, but that will be a separate series on Ezekiel's temple. And it should be fun, should be interesting, and we'll probably be doing some sermon reviews and some different things involved with that. That'll be its own series, and that will probably we'll probably do a lot of that on probably Sunday nights. Maybe we'll use some Wednesdays to work on that as well as we maintain our study on law and gospel. So those are some things we'll definitely be working on. I hope you're ready to participate. But specifically for the Bible study exercise, specifically for the Bible study exercise podcast series, here is where we are. Today is Saturday. You should be finishing up the Bible reading plan on the YouVersion Bible app on the 7 signs and the 7 I ams in the Gospel of John. Remember, I told everyone to subscribe to that reading plan on the YouVersion Bible app and work through it. If you have, wonderful. Tomorrow at Victory Baptist Church during the morning service, not Sunday school, because we'll be doing baptism, but during the Sunday morning worship hour, we'll be streaming starting somewhere around 11:15, 11:20, 11:25 a.m. We will start working on those 7 signs, 7 I am statements and connect it to Elijah and Elisha, looking that John, in a sense, revisits the miracles of Elisha in the Gospel of John. So in a sense, the 7 sign miracles in the Gospel of John, some believe is a revisitation of Elisha's miracles. We're going to compare them. It should be fun. We're just going to kind of throw out the hypotheses and see what we can find. So that's what we're going to be doing. That takes us away from some of the things we're supposed to be working on in the Gospel of John. But we're gonna hopefully, if you did the reading plan, you've been working on it all week. Because remember, the Bible study exercise, a lot of times I'm handing it to you. So I hope that you participated in that. Again, the name of that Bible reading plan, if you have the YouVersion Bible app, in fact, let me open up the YouVersion Bible app really quick. If you open up the YouVersion Bible app, it is called The Book of John, the 7 I ams and 7 signs of Jesus and John's Gospel. It's a 7-day reading plan. If you have not done that, please stop what you're doing right now. Look up the YouVersion Bible app. You can do a Google search and find it. You can find it in your app store, the YouVersion Bible app. Once you find the app, go to plans and do a search for Book of John, the 7 I ams, 7 signs of Jesus and John's Gospel. It's a 7-day reading plan. Everyone should be able to pull that off. So please make that a priority. Please, 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 please. If you're behind, that's okay. Use it for this week, this coming week. Engage in that, please. And even if you don't have time to do that, at least tune in to tomorrow's message because we will start working on it. I'm hoping, in some ways, what we may do tomorrow is we may do Sunday school for baptism and then use Sunday school or then use Sunday morning and Sunday night for the Book of John, the 7 I ams and the 7 signs, or 7 signs and the 7 I ams, however you want to read it. We may do that and then finish baptism on Wednesday. I don't know. We're going to mix it up a little bit, but hopefully, because once we dive into this, I don't want this to drag out to too long. Because in some ways we're supposed to be finishing it. Well, today is when we're really supposed to be finishing it. So please, the Book of John, the 7 I ams, 7 signs of Jesus and John's Gospel. Please, 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 please do that reading plan. Do that reading plan. All right. I think you'll find it interesting, fascinating, and then you can draw your own conclusions, and we'll be talking about it tomorrow. All right. Sounds good. Okay. Now, this coming week, starting tomorrow afternoon, we have 2 chapters of John that we're supposed to really focus. We really need 2 weeks for these 2 chapters, but we're gonna put these 2 chapters together. So this week, starting tomorrow all the way till next Saturday. So this first week of April, not only are you going to be working, if you need to, continue to work on the 7 I Ams and 7 signs in the Gospel of John. Please continue to work on that. But you will be. This is what I really need you to focus on. All right? You need to work on, if I can find where I wrote this down in my journal. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Here are the 2 chapters of John that we're going to combine for this first week of April. John chapter 19, basically verse 16 to verse 42. Now, really, it skips around a little bit more, but if you just look at that entire section, you should be okay. John chapter 19, verse 16 to verse 42, or just start reading John chapter 19 this week. Just start reading John chapter 19. And if you have the YouVersion Bible app, then it's great. Just go to John 19 and hit play, and you can listen to it over and over and over and over. So John 19, and then John chapter 20. So John 19 and 20, I was going to break it down by verses, but we'll just go John 19, John 20. That is your focus for the next 7 days. Well, basically 7 days. The next 7 days, the first week of April, John 19 and John 20. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be able to address it at church because obviously you can see my time is completely used up there. So I'm going to try to find ways to use it for the Today's Focus podcast series and just do other random podcast episodes. Maybe we'll do a sermon review. I don't know. We're just going to use anything and everything I can find that has any connection to John 19 and 20. All right? And so those episodes will probably be posted under the Bible study exercise. All right? So please, also, if you are using the curriculum, there are two sessions on these 2 chapters. I'll give you an example. All right. The first one is called Jesus Died for Me. Jesus' death on the cross made forgiveness possible for me. John chapter 19, 16 through 42. That's Unit 1, Session 5. Unit 1, Session 5. As you're reading John 19, look up the curriculum and engage in the curriculum. You can either use the Adult Personal Study Guide or you can use the Daily Discipleship Guide. Whichever one, use it. And I'm going to be utilizing that during the week for devotional messages, podcast episodes. We'll be adding to that. But please use the curriculum. Please, 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 please. Look, we have the curriculum. We use the Bible reading plans. We use all of this additional stuff to supplement. If I can't get to a lot of things, you still have something to work on, all right? So please, 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 please do that. It's called Jesus Died for Me, Unit 1, Session 5. It covers John 19, verse 16 to verse 42. All right? You got that? Now, the other entry, that's Jesus Died for Me. The other one is called Jesus Rose Again to Give Me Life. John chapter 20, verses 1 through basically 18. That's Unit 1, Session 6. That's Unit 1, Session 6. That's Unit 1, Session 6. So Unit 1, Session 5, Unit 1, Session 6, that's the curriculum. As you're reading John 19 and 20, reference the curriculum. We don't always agree with it. Sometimes we disagree with it. Sometimes we 1,000% disagree with it. Sometimes we 1,000% are in agreement with it. But read it, supplement your reading, and really dig into those 2 chapters in the first week of April. John 19 and John 20. Now, that's going to be perfect for this week, right? Because tomorrow is Palm Sunday, right? Some people refer to it as Holy Week, right? So please, 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 focus on those 2 chapters because you're going to be dealing with basically the crucifixion of Christ and the resurrection. So that would be a perfect week to study those 2 passages of those 2 chapters, those 2 passages of Scripture, and we're going to make the most out of it. I don't like combining these 2 in 1 week. I don't, but the little detour, and I don't even like call it a detour, but I guess it was, we kind of exited off the highway and we got to the 7 signs and the 7 I am statements, along with Elijah and Elisha. We got into all of that, which kind of caused us to detour from these chapters, meaning now we have to combine these 2 chapters for this week. But I think it works perfectly. We may not be able to expound them, do verse by verse, but anything I can do this week, I will try to supplement anything you're doing. Now, here's always the thing. If you've got a question, you got a struggle, you're thinking anything about it, share your thoughts, your observations, your questions, because that makes it so easy for me to take your email, turn on the microphone, and discuss it. And guess what? Whatever your question or observation is, there's probably 1,000 other people listening who, guess what? They have the same question or the same observation and would love to hear a discussion about it. Okay? So does that get everyone ready? So the reading plan, the YouVersion reading plan on the 7 I ams and the 7 signs in the Gospel of John, if you've completed it, wonderful, great, then you'll be ready for tomorrow, right, when we pick it up at Victory Baptist Church. If you haven't done it, please do that reading plan. Please, 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 please. It's only 7 days. It's quick. Now, I'm hoping you finished it, right? Because what I really need you to do starting today is John 19 and 20, John 19 and 20, John 19 and 20. John 19 and 20. Live in it, breathe it, feed upon it, drink it in, meditate on it, live in it, breathe it until it becomes a part of you. The more you spend time in a chapter, the more you absorb it until you know it, backwards, forwards, upside down, inside out. You get it all. You get all the different ways I can say it. All right? Does that get you set? Now, once we get to next Saturday, well, we're going to transition away from the Gospel of John. And if you look at the curriculum, you know what's coming. Because once we transition after that, we are going to spend 6 weeks to 7 weeks on the subject of temptation. That is what we'll be doing for the rest of April into May. It will be temptation. Once we kind of conclude all of this work on John, then we will transition right into 6 to 7 weeks on the subject of temptation. We are going to do so first and foremost by looking at the individual sections that the curriculum gives us. I'll be doing an entire broadcast just on what we're going to be doing on temptation. We may throw in, we'll be throwing in other sources. We'll be throwing in other things I'll be utilizing. We'll be utilizing the Today's Focus podcast series, other broadcasts, devotional messages, and we will just dig into it. And I'm not even going to give you any assignments or anything to do yet. We will wait for that. We will try to introduce that. I'll probably wait I may wait until Saturday next week to introduce it because we've got all this other stuff going on. So I'll just give you an idea of what the curriculum wants us to do. Unit 2, Session 1 is the source of temptation. Unit 2, Session 2 is temptation to rely on myself instead of God. Unit 3, let me go back through these. Unit 2, Session 1, the source of temptation. Unit 2, Session 2, temptation to rely on myself instead of God. Unit 2, Session 3, the temptation to test God. Unit 2, Session 4, the temptation to place something else before God. Unit 2, Session 5, recovering from a fall in temptation. And Unit 2, Session 6, the strength to stand against temptation. All right? That is what we're going to be looking at throughout the month of April. All right? The source of temptation. Let me go back through these. Unit 2, Session 1, the source of temptation. Unit 2, Session 2, the temptation to rely on myself instead of God. Unit 2, Session 3, the temptation to test God. Unit 2, Session 4, temptation to place something else before God. Unit 2, Session 5, recovering from a fall into temptation. Unit 2, Session 6, the strength to stand against temptation. The strength to stand against temptation. If I read that incorrectly the first time, I apologize. That is what we're going to be doing. Now, I want to go ahead and break down the scriptures. I want to go, but I'll wait because we really want to start that next Saturday. Like I was going to turn around and do another episode today, just introducing the whole thing about temptation, but we're a week out. We've got John 19 and 20 in front of us right now. We've got the 7 I ams and the 7 signs. We've got that to work on. So we won't introduce the temptation yet. The temptation study yet, but at least give you a quick preview. All right. So I'll go through those one more time. Unit 2, session 1 is the source of temptation. Unit 2, session 2 is the temptation to rely on myself instead of God. Unit 2, session 3 is the temptation to test God. Unit 2, session 4, temptation to place something else before God. Unit 2, Session 5, recovering from a fall in temptation. And Unit 2, Session 6, the strength to stand against temptation. I think it should be it's going to be one of those studies that it's going to be hard, like how close do I stay to the curriculum, or do we just go boom, we just deviate immediately. We just go wherever direction we want to go. It's going to a lot rely on what you guys want or what you guys need. So here's what I would say for you to get prepared for next week. You don't need to do any homework or do any assignment yet, but start thinking about the subject of temptation and what you would like to hear covered, what you would like us to study. Like if it comes to the subject of temptation, what are your questions? What are your struggles? What would you like to hear covered? Because we can make that a priority almost immediately, or we can make sure we address it as we work through. Either we focus on the curriculum or we deviate from the curriculum. So depending on what people want, we may deviate from the curriculum, but we'll definitely be utilizing or referencing it at some point. Now, if you don't have access to the curriculum, it's very simple. Email me, newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. That's newsif@yahoo.com. Just say you would like access to the curriculum. I send you a link. You sign up. You email me back saying I've signed up. I go back in. Make sure you tell me the name you signed up under. I look for you. Then I start assigning all the curriculum. You'll get an email that it's all been assigned to you, and then you can just use it. As always, if you have ever signed up for the curriculum but you're not using it, please let me know because because currently we still have room left. But if we get a few more people, then we have to go up to the next subscription level, which costs us even more money. We're willing to pay the money, but if you're not using the curriculum, it's easier to just remove the people not using it. Than to have to go up to the next level paying when we got half the people for this level not using it. So if you're not using it, obviously let us know because we can just remove your name and then that opens up a spot. But don't worry about how many spots we have or don't have. If you want to use it, by all means, just let me know and we just boom, immediately give you access. Boom, it's free for you and we want people utilizing it. So it's going to be a busy month of April. A busy month of April. So we're going to try to get the most out of it. We're going to try. I always have these. My mistake is I always come up with all of these ideas. I'm like, and I've got this idea like, it's going to work this way and it's going to work this way and it's going to work this way. But we never know what's going to happen. One little detour, one little thing, and the next thing you know, that study kind of falls apart or that week. It's just amazing for the Bible study exercise. It really is amazing how fast a week goes. Like, I don't know if you realize, you probably know for yourself, but when you have like, say, a Bible study that where we're going to do this week, it's amazing how, it's on Saturday. And then before you know it, it's next Saturday. And you're like, well, what happened to that week of Bible study? What happened? I was supposed to be working on this chapter. And it's just gone. It's just gone. And part of the problem is what I need to be doing is for the broadcast is just focusing on that one particular thing. But you know what happens? And one day I may do 4 or 5 broadcasts, and none of them will be on the Bible study exercise that we're working on for that week. So it's like, because there's always so many other things going on, right? We always have things to talk about in the theological world, in the biblical world. So it's just like I could be so committed on Saturday to say, study John 19. And by Monday morning, when I'm getting ready to go live, I've already forgotten John 19. And I'm already like, well, let's focus on this, or what about this? Or I just read this, or I just heard this, and next thing you know, I'm forgetting John 19. That's on me. That's not on you guys. That's on me. And I don't know how to correct that. Theoretically, how I should correct it is I should just, if we're going to do the Bible study, like the Bible study exercise podcast series should probably be all that I do for the podcast. Like, all we're going to do is work John 19. That's it. We're not going to do anything else. But I can't do that. I can't reduce the podcast to just one thing. I just can't do that. There's always so many other things to talk about. So all I can do is put it all out there and then hope people, but I get, it's not even about what you guys do with it. It's what I do with it, because then I will realize that I've got too much going on and I can't stay focused. And then it gets to the end of the week and I'm like, like the seven I ams, the 7 signs and the 7 I am statements. I've worked on it, but there's all these other things I've been working on. I've been working on the No Hymn book. I've been working on this, what is this? Advanced Bible Study series, The Doctrine Which You Have Learned, and I've been looking at the Doctrine of God. I've also been using the No Hymn book and also the Come and See book right here. So there's all, and there's another book that I'm looking at. There's all of these other things going on. So in one day, I can be looking at 6 different things. Well, that's wonderful and great. It sounds all super spiritual, but the reality is, by the time I get to the end of the week, I may have done 15 things, but what did I really do in a more meaningful way? Like I feel like I did 15 things, but I don't have anything to show for it. Even though I may be able to pull out a journal or a notebook, still just feels like I was too distracted. Oh, I don't even like the word distracted. I spread myself too thin, if that makes sense. I know it's a cliche, but so I'm always struggling with that. So how do we work the Bible study exercises? I don't know. Because my intention every day is like, oh, this is what we're doing for the Bible study exercise. This is what I'll talk about for today's focus. This is what I'll talk, and then I'll do 3 episodes, 4 episodes, 2 episodes, and I'll be like, well, we did 2 episodes, which counts for 3 hours of broadcasting. Do I do another? One of them was an hour-and-a-half sermon review. Okay, well, do I do something else? Like, there's only so many hours you can listen to. I mean, you can't spend 5 hours a day listening to the broadcast. So I'm so bad at that. I'm so bad. Most podcasts is like, we do 1 episode a week, and everybody's like, okay, that's too many, But I'm like, I'll do 5 a day, but I have cut back a little bit. It's easier to cut back. I think the big difference is when I stopped broadcasting at the church and started broadcasting here. See, when you're broadcasting at the church, I have to drive, about 20 minutes, 21, 22 minutes. Then by the time I get to the church, I got to take all the equipment out, go hook up. That's another 15, 20 minutes. So I've almost spent 40 minutes to an hour just getting ready to broadcast. Well, once you've driven that far to broadcast, you're not going to go there for 1 episode. So then you try to knock out maybe 3, 4 episodes. Then you drive back because you're stuck right there, right? You can't just drive all the way back home to drive all the way back. But when you're broadcasting in a studio in your own home, you do an episode and then you're like, well, I'm going back downstairs and I'm going to go do what I want to do. So then they kind of get a little bit more spread out, and it's not like I'm just sitting in that one building. I'm going to do 3 before I leave, or I'm going to do 4 episodes before I leave. Now it's like I'll do 1 and go back downstairs. So we'll see. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Nobody has emailed me with some great solution. I think most of my emails are you record too much and I'm too overwhelmed. That's typically all my emails. And I do feel bad about that, but I don't know. I mean, I feel bad about it, but that's one of the beautiful things I love about a podcast is we can just talk about anything at any time, at any moment, whatever it may be. If we're reacting to the Nashville shooting, whatever we're reacting to, whatever is happening. So that's one of the reasons I try to break them down into different series and because then you know what is what. Especially in the Church One app, it's broken down into series, so you can clearly see, and I think that's easier, so you can kind of pick or choose. But that's the month of April. First week of April, John 19 and 20, finishing up the 7 I ams and the 7 signs in the Gospel of John, or as I should say, the 7 signs, since they come first, the 7 I ams at the second half of John. 7 signs and 7 I am statements. We're finishing that up. Then John 19, 20, and then we transition into 6 to 7 weeks on the subject of temptation. John 19, 20, and the 6 weeks to 7 weeks on temptation are all found in the curriculum that is available to anyone for free. You don't have to pay for anything. We are paying for it. But just email me, newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. Look, you don't, all you have to say is, I want access to the curriculum. You'll get a link. You email me back going, here's the name I used for the curriculum. I'll immediately go in and assign all of the curriculum to your name. And there you go. You don't get bothered. You don't get emails asking for money. You don't get harassed. You don't get bothered in any way, shape, or form. We do appreciate anyone who helps support the cost for that. We do appreciate that. But we are glad to provide it. We're glad to provide it. That's the thing. We don't put the curriculum behind a paywall. We don't put any podcast episodes behind a paywall. We don't put anything behind a paywall. Okay? We don't do any of that. Everything is right there, free of, as we kind of use this motto, freely we have received, so freely we should give. We do appreciate anyone who helps support all of this that we do, but we try to give. That's the month of April. That's the month of April. I think that's a pretty good plan. I know I would rather do some teaching in this right now. So now I'm going to finish this episode feeling like I didn't accomplish anything, but it had to be done because so much is going on. We had to put it all together, try to explain everything and map it all out. So I hope you're good to go. All right. Contact me. newsif@yahoo.com. That's newsif@yahoo.com. That's newsif@yahoo.com. If there's anything you need and related to John 19 or 20, let us know soon. We can start addressing it. And then I want you to start thinking about temptation, any question, anything you want us to cover in regards to that subject, then we will make that a priority. And we'll see if the curriculum has anything to say about your question or your thoughts or your observations. Okay. newsif@yahoo.com. That's newsif@yahoo.com. newsif@yahoo.com. Everyone have a great Saturday. I may be able to get one more episode in today. I've got to figure out what I want to do. One more episode today, and then possibly a late night episode. Possibly. I doubt it, but if I can, I will. If not, then the next time you hear from us, if I can't come up with anything now, then the next time you hear from us will be 10 a.m. tomorrow, and that will be on baptism in the scriptures, then 11:15, 11:20, and 7 signs, 7 I ams. We'll pick that up. And then Sunday night, either the 7 signs and 7 I ams, and then Wednesday we'll back. But obviously Sunday afternoon, I don't know if you'll hear, I don't know if I'll be doing any live broadcasting Sunday afternoon. Maybe I will. If not, then it'll be Monday. So we'll see. All right. Thanks for listening. Everyone have a great day. God bless.